Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. What happens when a woman finally tries to step out of her family's shadow, only to watch her dream crash down in spectacular fashion? And what if that dream leaves her staring at the jaw-dropping $3 million debt? Katie Logan believed she had finally found her independence by launching her own fashion venture, the Logan brand. But what started as an inspiring journey toward proving herself quickly spiraled into a financial nightmare, leaving her business bankrupt and her future uncertain. For years, Katie Logan carried the quiet burden of living in the shadow of two incredibly powerful women, her sisters Brooke Logan and Donna Logan. Both of them had built reputations that were impossible to ignore, and Katie often felt like the sister who was constantly trying to prove that she belonged in the same league. She had strength, resilience, and determination. But the truth is that people rarely saw her accomplishments without immediately connecting them to the influence of her family. So when Katie decided to launch her own fashion venture called the Logan brand, it felt like the moment she had been waiting for her entire life. This wasn't just a business project for her, it was a declaration, a statement that she was capable of building something meaningful on her own without leaning on the power, wealth, or reputation of anyone else. Katie envisioned the Logan brand as something that represented more than just clothing. She wanted the line to embody the spirit of the Logan women: confidence, elegance, and authenticity, inspired by her family's long standing ties to the fashion world through Forrester Creations. Katie believed she could channel that legacy into something modern and fresh. In her mind, the Logan brand would celebrate strength and femininity while honoring the powerful history attached to the Logan name. From the very beginning, Katie threw herself into the project with relentless passion. She spent long nights studying design sketches, analyzing fabrics, and working closely with designers who could help bring her vision to life. Meetings with investors became a regular part of her routine as she worked tirelessly to secure the funding necessary to turn her dream into real business. She negotiated manufacturing agreements, explored retail partnerships, and spent countless hours developing a marketing campaign that she hoped would introduce the Logan brand to the fashion world in a big way. In fact, Katie was so committed to the project that she stepped away from several responsibilities at Spencer Publications, just so she could devote her full attention to the brand. It was a huge risk, but Katie had never been afraid of challenges. After everything she had survived, heart surgery, emotional heartbreak, and difficult relationships, she believed she had the strength to overcome anything. When the Logan brand was finally announced, the response was surprisingly positive. The fashion scene in Los Angeles buzzed with curiosity. Bloggers and fashion commentators praised Katie's bold move to create her own label, and several boutique stores quickly agreed to carry the line during its debut season. For the first time, Katie felt the thrill of recognition that belonged entirely to her. Even her sister Brooke publicly applauded her, telling people how proud she was of Katie's determination. That moment meant everything to Katie. It felt like she was finally stepping out of the long shadow cast by her siblings and establishing herself as a serious entrepreneur. But while the public excitement continued to grow, problems were already beginning to develop behind the scenes. The first major issue came from the production side of the business. Manufacturing costs turned out to be much higher than Katie had originally predicted. The materials, the labor, and the logistics involved in producing the clothing line quickly started eating away at the company's budget. Then came the delays. Shipping problems began disrupting the carefully planned release schedule for the Logan brand. Retailers who had initially shown enthusiasm became frustrated as delivery dates kept shifting. Some stores decided they couldn't wait any longer and canceled their orders altogether. At the same time, Katie's expensive marketing campaign failed to generate the kind of buzz she had hoped for. Despite the money poured into advertising and promotions, the brand simply didn't capture the widespread attention needed to drive strong sales. As the months passed, the situation became more and more alarming. Instead of seeing steady growth, Katie began receiving troubling sales reports from distributors. Entire shipments of clothing were coming back unsold. Stores were returning inventory that customers simply weren't buying. The investors who had once praised her creativity and ambition started asking difficult questions about the company's finances. Their confidence was fading, and they wanted answers. Katie did her best to reassure them. She insisted that every new brand needs time to build momentum, and that the Logan brand would eventually find its audience. But privately, Katie could feel the pressure building with every passing day. Each morning seemed to bring another email outlining new financial losses. Each meeting with accountants uncovered problems she hadn't anticipated. The numbers were beginning to look terrifying. Then came the moment that pushed the entire company to the brink of collapse. The Logan brand's largest retail partner, the store that represented a huge portion of the brand's projected income, suddenly decided to terminate their contract. Without warning, they walked away from the partnership. That decision sent shockwaves through Katie's fragile business structure. Overnight, the brand lost a massive chunk of its expected revenue. The financial projections Katie had been relying on suddenly became meaningless. The company's survival was now hanging by a thread. Katie spent several sleepless nights staring at spreadsheets, analyzing every possible scenario that might save the business. She searched desperately for a solution, hoping there was still some way to turn things around. At one point, she even considered reaching out to her former husband, Bill Spencer Jr. Bill was known as a ruthless and powerful media mogul whose influence in the business world was enormous. If anyone had the resources to rescue the Logan brand, it was him. But Katie also understood the complicated history between them. Accepting help from Bill would likely come with emotional consequences she wasn't prepared to face. Eventually, Katie had no choice but to meet with her financial advisors and confront the harsh reality of the situation. What they told her shattered everything. The Logan brand wasn't just struggling, it was drowning in financial losses. Manufacturing contracts, unpaid marketing expenses, and investor obligations had created a massive financial hole that couldn't be patched. After reviewing every possible option, the advisors delivered the devastating conclusion Katie had been fearing. The company was effectively bankrupt. Even worse, the business had accumulated a staggering $3 million in debt. $3 million. The number echoed in Katie's mind like a thunderstorm that wouldn't stop rumbling. It was a figure so massive that it felt almost unreal. The emotional impact hit her immediately. Katie had always seen herself as the responsible Logan sister, the one who carefully considered every decision before taking a risk. Now she felt as though she had made the biggest mistake of her life. Telling Brooke and Donna the truth was one of the hardest moments Katie had ever faced. When she finally gathered the courage to explain the situation, the conversation was filled with tension and heartbreak. Brooke listened quietly, trying to process the shocking information, while Donna struggled to hide how stunned she was. Neither of them had realized that Katie's business problems had become the savior. Brooke immediately insisted that they would help Katie find a solution because family always comes first. But Katie resisted the idea of being rescued. She didn't want her sister sacrificing their own stability because of her mistake. Instead, Katie made it clear that she intended to solve the problem herself, even if it meant selling every asset she owned. But news of the Logan brand's collapse didn't stay private for long. The tight knit fashion world of Los Angeles quickly began buzzing with rumors about Katie's financial crisis. At first, her creations, executives whispered about the downfall of the brand with a mix of sympathy and skepticism. Some people believed Katie had simply aimed too high. Others argued that she had just been unlucky in a brutally competitive industry. Either way, the reality was undeniable. Katie Logan, the woman who had been trying to prove herself as a rising entrepreneur, was now staring at financial devastation. As the pressure continued to build, Katie found herself asking terrifying questions about what would happen next. Would she have to declare personal bankruptcy? Would she lose her home? Would this failure become the defining chapter of her life? Despite the fear and uncertainty surrounding her, Katie refused to completely give up hope. After all, the Logan women had survived far worse situations in the past: heartbreak, betrayals, and family scandals that could have destroyed anyone else. Meanwhile, Bill Spencer began hearing rumors about Katie's financial situation through his business connections. Even though their relationship had always been complicated, Katie was still the mother of his son, and Bill cared about her deeply. When he discovered that she was facing $3 million in debt, his reaction was a mix of frustration and concern. Part of him wanted to step in immediately and erase the debt with a single phone call, but Bill also knew Katie well enough to understand that her pride would never accept such an easy solution. If he was going to help her, he would need to do it carefully, without making her feel like she owed him anything in return. And now, as this dramatic storyline continues unfolding, Katie Logan finds herself at one of the most critical turning points of her life. The collapse of the Logan brand isn't just a business failure, it's a deeply personal battle over identity, independence, and the courage to reveal after everything falls apart. The fallout from this situation could completely reshape Katie's future. Financial disasters in the world of the bold and the beautiful often trigger even bigger storylines: alliances, betrayals, and unexpected partnerships. Katie's death could pull Bill Spencer back into her life in a major way, and that alone could spark massive emotional drama. At the same time, the Logan family rallying around her could strengthen their bond, showing that family loyalty still matters even when everything else collapses. Personally, I think this storyline is fascinating because it puts Katie in a position we rarely see. She's not just dealing with romantic drama or family conflict. This is about pride, ambition, and failure. And honestly, watching a character try to rebuild after such a massive setback can be one of the most powerful arcs in the entire show. Katie has always been underestimated, but if there's one thing we know about her, it's that she has a surprising inner strength that shows up when things get darkest. So now the big question is this: will Katie Logan find a way to climb out of this $3 million disaster? Or will the collapse of the Logan brand change her life forever? And do you think Bill Spencer will secretly step in with to save her, even if she refuses his help? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to hear your predictions about where this storyline is headed next. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next bold and the beautiful drama.